Back in the early 2020s, upgrading a laptop's memory or bumping up your phone's storage was a cheap afterthought. For years, consumers relied on a dependable rhythm in the electronics industry. Component prices reliably dropped by about 10% every 12 months. This graph tracks component costs over 6 years. Notice the steady decline leading into 2024. But late in 2025, that rhythm snapped. On that spike, a 32GB DDR5 kit jumped from $100 to $350, and a 2TB solid-state drive quadrupled. That kind of sticker shock directly harms everyday buyers. Manufacturers are being forced to pass these rising component costs down the line, raising the final price of consumer electronics and causing them to aggressively slash their shipment forecasts. Tracing those retail price hikes backward to the major tech manufacturers, the damage is clear. Market analysts at IDC have had to cut their global PC and smartphone shipment forecasts by over 10. This chart compares distributor inventory levels, and it reveals exactly why those cuts are happening. Notice the towering 17-week buffer of supply back in 2024, which completely collapses to a tiny alarm-red 2-week window by late 2025. The physical backlog is so severe that companies like Western Digital completely sold out their entire hard drive production capacity for the year 2026 before the year even began. High retail prices are the result of a physical vacuum. The supply of memory has vanished from traditional channels, forcing us to track exactly where the world's silicon is going. To find the root cause, we have to look globally, but we can quickly rule out the usual suspects. Global shipping lanes and logistics networks are operating normally. We can also rule out raw material bottlenecks. There is no lack of specialized chemicals, rare earth metals, or raw silicon holding up production, and the factories themselves are running perfectly. Major semiconductor foundries are operating at absolute maximum capacity and reporting record-breaking profits. The missing memory chips are going directly into enterprise data centers. Analysts estimate that up to 70% of all global DRAM and NAND produced in 2026 is being consumed entirely by cloud infrastructure. Production hasn't slowed down. Instead, the global supply chain has been massively redirected to feed the hardware requirements of the AI industry. The reason AI demand breaks the consumer supply chain comes down to the physical manufacturing constraints on the microchips themselves. Modern AI accelerators and GPUs require a specific, highly complex architecture called high bandwidth memory, or HBM, to function. This diagram visualizes a standard silicon wafer. It has a finite amount of surface area, and when we map out standard consumer chips, we can fit hundreds of them onto a single circular grid. But high bandwidth memory yields far fewer usable units per wafer. As we allocate space for these massive AI memory blocks, it physically erases the space that would have produced consumer RAM or solid-state drives. Because data center contracts offer vastly higher profit margins, fabs are actively canceling and delaying legacy component orders to prioritize this new memory. Fabricating an AI chip prevents the creation of a consumer chip, turning global silicon manufacturing into a ruthless zero-sum game. Zooming out to the corporate landscape, end users have zero alternative options because the memory industry operates as a highly concentrated oligopoly. This pie chart of the global DRAM market reveals that just 3 companies, Samsung, SK hynix, and Micron, control over 90% of the entire space, leaving a razor-thin sliver for anyone else. With an absolute lack of competition, these 3 corporations hold total pricing power. They can comfortably abandon the consumer market to chase lucrative AI profits. And there is no quick fix on the horizon. Multi-billion-dollar fabrication plants take years to build, meaning no significant new manufacturing capacity will come online until 2027 or 2028. This market shift has turned into a multi-year supercycle, with producers warning that shortages will likely persist through 2027. Everyday consumers trying to buy a laptop or a hard drive are now directly competing for the exact same physical resources as trillion-dollar tech giants. And for the foreseeable future, the tech giants are winning.